Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Asata Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Mai Subhadra Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Mai Subhadra Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Balagopal Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Balagopal Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gauranikai 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Om Shivara Brahmhamsa Parvrajagacharya Astatarashita Shishimati Histapanga Visi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Shivara Brahmhamsa Parvrajagacharya Astatarashita Shishimati Histapanga Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Swami Vikta Bhaktivinda Ki Jai All glories to Assembled Devotees, all glories to Assembled Devotees, all glories to Assembled Devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Hare Krishna. So, welcome to ISKCON Detroit, morning Shrimadbhagavatam class, morning class. Today we are in Canto 1, we are in chapter 14, and we are in text 10. Yes. Before we get started, we'll just say a quick prayer to start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayam Namaskrityam.
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Naram Cheva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayudhirye.
Tato Jayudhirye.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Hare Krishna. So, we are reading Canto 1, and then chapter 14 is the disappearance of Lord Krishna. And we are in text 10. Pashyotpatan nara vaigra. Pashyotpatan nara vaigra. Divyan Bhauman Divya Bhauman Sadaihikan
Divyan Bhauman Sadaihikan
Darunam Shamsho Todurat
Darunan Samshato Duran
Bhayam no Buddhimo Hanam
Bhayam no Buddhimohanam
Pashyotpatan Nara Vyagra
Pashyotpatan Naravyagra
Divyan Bhauman Sadaihikan
Divyan Bhauman Sadaihikan
Darunan Shamshato Durat
Darunan Samshato Duran
Bhayam no Buddhimohanam
Bhayam no Buddhimohanam
Pashyotpatan Nara Vyagra
Pashyotpatan Naravyagra
Divyan Bhauman Sadaihikan
Divyan Bhauman Sadaihikan
Darunan Shamshato Durat
Darunan Samshato Duran
Bhayam no Buddhimohanam.
Bhayam no Buddhimohanam
Anyone like to repeat?
Pashyatopatan Naravyagra
Pashyatopatana Naravaigra
Divyan Bhauman Sadaihikan
Divyan Bhauman Sadaihikan
Darunan Samshato Duran
Darunam Shamshato Durat
Bhayam no Buddhimohanam
Bhayam no Buddhimohanam. We'll go through the word for word meaning. Pashya,
Pashya
just see.
Just see
Utpatan,
Utpatan
disturbances.
Disturbances
Naravagra,
Naravyagra
O man of tiger-like strength.
O man of tiger-like strength
Divyan,
Divyan
happenings in the sky or by planetary influences.
Happenings in the sky or by planetary influence
Bowman,
Brahman
happenings on the earth.
Happenings on the earth
Sadaihikan,
Sadaihikan
happenings of the body and the mind.
Happenings of the body and the mind
Duranan,
Daruna
Daruna, awfully dangerous.
Awfully dangerous
Shamshata,
Samsata
indicating.
Indicating
Adurat,
Adurat
in the near future.
in the near future
Bhayam,
Bhayam
danger. Na,
Na
our.
Our
Buddhi,
Buddhi
intelligence.
Intelligence
Mohanam,
Mohanam
deluding.
Devil
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Just see, O man with a tiger's strength, how many miseries due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily pains, all very dangerous in themselves, are foreboding danger in the near future by deluding our intelligence. Please repeat after me. Just see, O man with a tiger's strength,
O man with a tiger's strength
how many miseries
How many miseries
due to celestial influences,
due to celestial influences
earthly reactions, and bodily pains,
and bodily pains
all very dangerous in themselves,
all very dangerous in themselves
are foreboding danger
are foreboding danger
in the near future
in the near future
by deluding our
by
intelligence.
deluding our intelligence.
Purport. Material advancement of civilization means advancement of the reactions of the threefold miseries due to celestial influence, earthly reactions, and bodily and mental pains. By the celestial influence of the stars, there are many calamities like excessive heat, cold, rains, or no rains, and the after effects are famine, disease, epidemic. The aggregated result is agony of the body and the mind. Man-made material science cannot do anything to counteract these threefold miseries. They are all punishments from the superior energy of Maya under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, our constant touch with the Lord by devotional service can give us relief without our being disturbed in the discharge of our human duties. The asuras, however, who do not believe in the existence of God, make their own plans to counteract all these threefold miseries, and so they meet with failure every time. The Bhagavad Gita 7:14 clearly states that the reactions of material energy is never to be conquered. Because of the binding effects of the three modes, they can simply be overcome by one who surrenders fully in devotion under the lotus feet of the Lord. Jai. We'll just recite a real quick prayer before we start. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakama Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagradatam Saganaratam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasayitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, just reading the translation one more time to Canto 1, Chapter 14, Text 10. Just see, O man with a tiger's strength, how many miseries due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily pains, all very dangerous in themselves, are foreboding danger in the near future by diluting our intelligence. And I'd just like to read the purport's first line again one more time. Material advancement of civilization means advancement of the reactions of the threefold miseries due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily and mental pains. So today's verse is quite, as all verses, important, and it's quite telling in today's times. And so, just 1 second. Okay. So far in this particular chapter, we have seen Maharaj Yudhishthira, right? He's observing many inauspicious things and signs. Arjun has gone to Dwarka to see what's happening, but he has not come back. I think it takes him several months to come back. And Maharaj Yudhishthira, in the meantime, is seeing like things in the environment as well as within himself, starting to change, right? And not for the good, for the bad. And things are starting to get worse in the atmosphere. And so he is actually talking to Bhima, his younger brother at this point, and questioning him, like, what is going on, right? And so here we can see Bhima has been called a man with a tiger's strength, right? And we know from Mahabharata and hearing previous stories that Bhimsen was a very strong individual, right? Super strong. So it's very telling in this particular verse that, Vyasadeva has written it as, O man with the tiger's strength. Because even if you're strong in this life, life is not going to be easy. If you're strong, fit at the gym, eating lots of protein, great, but in this lifetime, life is not going to be easy, right? It's not only that the weakest are suffering right now, but even those that are strongest are also suffering, right? People with all opulences, we think that those that are rich, those that have all beauty, those that have immense wealth or whatnot, or intelligence, you know, that they must not be suffering, they're better off, right? But in this day and age, everybody is struggling. You may think that they have no miseries in their lives because of their opulences, but they are also experiencing quite a bit of miseries. So, these observations that are taking place, even though it was happening, 5,000 years back, it's still happening in today's time, if not even actually even to a worse degree and stuff, worse degree. But these are all very much connected to these threefold miseries, right? So let's look at these threefold miseries today and see how we can actually overcome them, even if things are starting to progress in a worse way. So, one, adhyatmika. These are miseries arising from one's own body or mind. Then there's adhibhautika, which are miseries that are caused by other living entities. So living entity to living entity. And adhidevika, which are miseries caused by higher forces, such as what we call Mother Nature, right? The demigods, things like that. When we look at the weather and so forth. So these are the three, adhyatmika, adhibhautika, and adhidevika. These are the three miseries that are explained in our wonderful Vedic philosophy. Now, what does this all mean? So the main theme of this whole portion or this section is that these threefold miseries are just symptoms. Just like when you get sick and you have symptoms, these are symptoms when we disconnect with Krishna. So, and that is our biggest disease, right? So these are the symptoms of the disease of disconnecting with Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada repeatedly emphasizes that this material existence is, and when we've heard this in Bhagavad Gita 5.8.15, that it's material existence means dukkhalayam ashashvatam, right? So this world is full of miseries. And I hate to be a downer, I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that, but, it is what it is. It's the reality, it's the situation we are in right now, and will continue to be in. And these three miseries are the categories. I apologize for that. The miseries that we experience in the world, they come in these three particular categories. Everything we experience can be put into these three categories, and they were adhyatmaka, adhibhautika, and adhidevika. So, what Maharaj Yudhishthira is perceiving in this particular chapter, as we have read, is an increase of these three miseries. And this is indicating a decline in dharma, right? A decline in religious principles, a decline in what our duties are. And it's a rise, so when something declines, what rises? The modes of passion and ignorance. So as this is happening, right, these are the symptoms, the experiences that everyone is going to have. Now, just wanted to go into each one of these as well too. So, adhyatmika. So these are the inner disturbances that we feel. So we have read in this particular chapter that Yudhishthira is experiencing anxiety. He's uneasy. He's feeling this inauspicious feelings are coming about. So these are all adhyatmika sufferings, right? When one experiences sufferings from the mind and the body, okay? So in today's time, mental health awareness is so, like such a, I hate to call it even a trendy word because it should not be a trendy word, but so many people are experiencing mental health illnesses. People today, even with the advancement of technology, there's so many bodily disturbances that are caused today. In Bhagavad Gita 266, it says, Ashantasya kuta sukam. So the translation of that verse is, one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence or a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. How can there be any happiness without peace? So mental stability, good body, all of these things lead to happiness or peace, which ultimately leads to this happiness that we're all striving for. As my Prabhu would say, no one woke up this morning to be unhappy, right? Everyone's waking up this morning to be happy. And if our mind and body are not together, then how can we be happy, right? And this is teachings from Bhagavad Gita as it is that has been around for millions and millions of years, I could even say. So this is not anything new. And related to Shrimadbhagavatam, we saw that in Satyaguna, or in the mode of goodness, people had very peaceful minds. In the whole Satya Yuga, right? People had very peaceful minds. They had the ability to have clear perceptions of what is possible. They were able to understand things, right? In a deeper, more specific way. So these are the things, you know, when one is in the mode of goodness, then your mental capacity, your body, everything is a little bit more peaceful, right? And stuff. When it comes to the body, we can also see, as time is progressing, this Rajaguna, which is the mode of passion, and Tamaguna, mode of ignorance, is increasing. And what happens, you can even see in our food sources, right? That the mode of passion has taken over. How much greed there is in our food industry, right? Trying to make the cheapest, right, product, you know, and, you know, get the highest profit from it, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what's good for the person and so forth. So pesticides, all these things, right? And it's just going to increase. So this, we think, you know, if our body is good, you know, by eating all of these things, it affects the body, right? When we try to even eat properly these days, it doesn't happen and stuff because our food source is not good, right? So it affects the inside of the body. And none of us can see inside of our body, you know, how's our heart doing, lungs, you know, all these things with diseases of cancer. We don't know what's happening within the body. Only Krishna knows. And our mind also is affected by what we eat as well, too. So it's directly correlated. So we cannot escape these three modes of material nature, right? The Sattva gun, Raja gun, and Tama gun. They're all playing in this balance, and right now Raja and Tamo are winning out, this passion and ignorance. And this is causing anxiety, fear, confusion, so much disturbances, right? And in Maharaj Yudhishthira's case, is a little bit unique, right? Because his disturbance was not due to ignorance, his disturbance was due to his spiritual sensitivity. He saw because he's a devotee of Krishna, he saw these disturbances of Rajaguna and Tamaguna, passion and ignorance starting to increase, right? And he knew the fact that Krishna was leaving, like the separation of Krishna is happening. And thus these things are increasing. So that's where his anxiety came from, his spiritual anxiety. But still, nonetheless, this anxiety exists in this world. And this is all yatmic type miseries that are taking place. The second one was adi bhautika. So this is disturbances between living beings. And in this chapter, we see there are signs, right? There is issues between husband and wife. There were issues between brothers. There were issues between, or animals that were starting to not behave. Even the social order was starting to get disturbed. So we see all of these things within this chapter. And these are the miseries that are part of this Adi Bhautika miseries. And in Bhagavad Gita, in the 16th chapter, they talk about the divine and the demoniac, right? And in verse 4, they describe the demoniac qualities that arise. This is pride, harshness, ignorance, all of these things, right? When this increases in society, then we can understand that people are under the influences of rajas and tamas, or passion and ignorance. Because what we see is conflict arising. Tell me where there's no conflict in this world. It does not exist. There's conflict everywhere. There's conflict within the home, right? Within the family structure. It is so bad that people now are like opposed to even the sanctity of marriage, right? What to speak of having children and population in the future, not understanding the consequences, right? So conflict between family structure, conflict within government structure, conflict within society, so forth. It just continues on and on. Conflict between races. So all of these things are increasing, and we don't see any, unfortunately, we do not see any way to overcome this. But we'll notice that as we get through today's verse, how we can overcome all of these things. We also can see that compassion has very much decreased. The amount of animal slaughter, the amount of like slaughter just in people with all this wars and stuff, right? People killing people left and right, like even in the schools, all of this stuff is quite disturbing, but it's taking place because of the increased influence of passion and ignorance, right? These demoniac qualities that are taking place, right, within a person. And also, unfortunately, exploitation has become very normal in this day and age too. So when we look at, gender, and we look at so many of these things that are taking place between societies, within religion, and so forth, is this exploitation. And everyone feels like it's just normal news nowadays, unfortunately, and stuff. And it should not be, right? Like, and so forth. So basically, I mean, you understand, these disturbances are from other beings, right? Because we acknowledge the body and not necessarily the spirit soul, many of these imbalances in our gunas, imbalances with the rise of passion and ignorance and decrease of goodness, this is what is happening, right? Because we're more and more on this bodily conception of life, right? These designations, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm this, I'm that, right? I. So when this happens, you're going to have these conflicts between people, unfortunately. It was very interesting because I was listening to a lecture and the Prabhu was talking about Pandavas and Kauravas. And we see in this, Mahabharata, or we see in Shrimadbhagavatam. And he was describing how it's actually more painful when people who are closest to you cause you trouble. Or who you think are closest to you cause you trouble, right? Like the Pandavas, when they were going through all of these calamities, right? They never said, like, why me? Why is this happening to me, right? And stuff. Those disturbances actually were not as dangerous as the current situation that Maharaj Yudhishthira is experiencing, because Krishna was there, right? And stuff. And somehow the mindset was still, under Krishna's protection, had faith in him, knew that he was there, and so forth. This faith was strong. This sattva guna was still present because Krishna was present. I talked in the last lecture as well too. When we have Krishna consciousness or the presence of Krishna in whatever form it may be, there's a sense of auspiciousness, right? So still there is that auspiciousness in the air somehow. But now, Maharaj Yudhishthira, with the current situation and with Krishna leaving, actually these disturbances become much more dangerous because this air of inauspiciousness is now created, right? And so for the pure devotee, the lesson he was trying to say is for the pure devotee of the Lord, real inauspiciousness is not the influence of these bad elements, right, and stuff, but real inauspiciousness is the absence of this, I know this is really confusing probably, real auspiciousness, which is of Lord Krishna leaving. So basically, real inauspiciousness, right, it's not these influences, these three modes of material nature, right? It's actually the absence of Krishna, which is real inauspiciousness, right? So that is the difference. We will have these three modes, but still with the protection of Krishna, we can overcome. But the real inauspiciousness is if we don't remember Krishna, that we lose Krishna, right, in our lives. We'll go more into that. So the third one that I wanted to bring up is Adi Devika. So these are disturbances in nature. And this is also, Yudhishthira Maharaj was also observing these inauspicious, like, natural phenomenon we've seen, and even in our environment, right? The increase of tornadoes. I think we had like 60 plus tornadoes this season already. And stuff like that. So wildfires, you name it, right? Mother Nature is not happy with us, right? And not that we're taking care of her very well either, right? By the increased amount of pollution that we cause. So with us not, observing how we're treating Mother Nature and so forth, and the demigods and so forth, then the influences are naturally, we're going to get the reactions of these things. And so this back and forth, this is Adi Devika miseries, right? And in Bhagavad Gita, we have heard in chapter 3, Ananda Bhavanti Bhutani. So all prosperity in this material world depends on yajna, or sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. And in 3:14 it says, all living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by the performance of yajna, or sacrifices, and yajna is born out of prescribed duties. So basically, when we stop participating in these sacrifices, when we stop understanding where is this actually coming from, right? Who should we be grateful to, right, for the things that we have and stuff? Then this neglect causes all these this irresponsibility on our part causes all these environmental issues, right? So rain has become irregular. There's places that are experiencing drought that should not have drought, and there's places that are experiencing floods that should not have floods, right? And stuff. So this natural balance has become disturbed. Yes. So nature itself is just reacting to our human society, moving away from this responsibility, this dharma, this duty that we have, right? And Maharaj Yudhishthira is seeing that, right? We have a responsibility to take care of Mother Nature, and when we act in that irresponsible way, these reactions are definitely going to come. And this is Adi Devika miseries that we're experiencing. So these three things are intensified as we see the three modes of material nature intensify, right? So these Adi Atmik, Adibhotik, and Adidevika, these all are going to increase, right, the miseries and stuff as these modes of material nature rise from, or I guess decline from sattva gun into rajas, passion, into tamas, into ignorance. The more we get into ignorance, more these things are going to cause more miseries and stuff. Because in sattva gun, what do we have? We had clarity, we had peace, we had knowledge, we were aligned. In rajas, we have this endless desire that we want, this competition. We see so much competition in schools. I'm like I just went through my son's graduation and stuff like that. I mean, amazing individuals and stuff. But at the same time, so much competition. Like, I always tell my son, if I had to apply today to the same school, we graduated from the same school, like, I would not get in. And stuff, I would not get in. So, anyhow, competition increases, this restlessness, anxiety increases, and ignorance, it becomes very dark, right? Very violent. This disillusion becomes so strong, right? We talk about Maya being strong, we haven't seen even her full strength yet. So, and this is, as this tamas, this ignorance will continue to increase and the imbalance of these other, start to decrease, these miseries are going to get even worse and worse in the future. So Bhagavad Gita 14:5 tells us, Sattvam Rajas Tama iti. So these three gunas are the ones that bind the living entity, right, to this material world. And in Yudhishthira's time, right, throughout his life, he saw that sattva was predominant. So this mode of goodness was predominant. And therefore, because they were so used to having all this goodness, even the slightest amount of disturbance, it becomes very noticeable, right? Mm. You have that beautiful white garment and there's that one little red dot on it, right? You're like, oh no! So that's how it was. So even the slightest little disturbance becomes very noticeable. But as Krishna is now preparing to leave this world and Rajas and Tamas increases and begins to rise, these threefold miseries are increasing, it's harder for us to these disturbances become what we feel is normal, unfortunately. Instead of understanding what goodness is, these disturbances just become, like our cloth is red now, right? It's not white with a red dot. So we don't even notice these things, unfortunately. And that is our disillusion. And that, unfortunately, comes from one major source, and that is our forgetfulness of Krishna. As Krishna leaves, we begin to forget him. And in Bhagavad Gita 7:14, it says, Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaka. This divine energy of mine consists of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross over it. This is what we have to hold on to, right? So as long as we're under these gunas, which we are because we're going to be in this material world, we will experience this adhyatmic, adibhotik, and adidevic miseries. But mam eva ya prapadyante, those who surrender unto Krishna, to the Lord, to God, can cross beyond it, right? So we have two choices, right? We have either we remember Krishna or we forget Krishna, right? So there was another interesting analogy or pastime Prabhu had mentioned in his lecture that during the time of Lord Ram, Bharat did not actually want to stay in Ayodhya without Lord Ram, right? Because he felt like a dead person. He felt like a dead person. Without Lord Ram, what is the point, right? So without Krishna, what is the point? So he felt like he was like a dead person. And how can a dead person rule a kingdom or expect to take up responsibilities? So he couldn't do that without the presence of Lord Ram. And it was like, he was describing it as only a fool would cut down the root of a tree, right? And then try to water the leaves to make it live. Like, that's so foolish, right? So only a fool will remove all, or like, for example, like in a pond, they will remove all the water and expect the fish to survive. Like maybe you can pour some water on the fish. Will it survive? No. So basically, he was trying to describe like life without the Lord, in the life without the Lord's presence in our lives, right? We're just like dead people walking around. There's no point, right? When you cut the root of the tree and you're trying to water it, there's no point, and stuff like that. So how to make our lives peaceful, full of happiness, and protect us from these three modes of material nature and this misery, and to unbind the chains that we're under and stuff, that comes from this practical process from Bhagavad Gita in chapter 14. Mamcha yo vyabhicharane bhakti yogina sevate. One who engages in pure devotional service transcends these gunas. So we know what the illness, the disease is. We also get the medicine, right? In Bhagavad Gita. And how do we do that? As we have said time and time again, chanting. Chant the holy names, chant Hare Krishna, Maha Mantra every day, and you will see how these gunas cannot affect you. You'll see your mindset change. You'll see your body change. You will see these miseries unable to touch you, right? You hear from Shrimadbhagavatam. We are hearing this pastime of Maharaj Yudhishthira to help us understand how we can overcome these three modes of miseries. Right? And stuff. By his example, we can see how to live our lives. So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, understanding these great personalities, we can understand how to live our lives. Association with devotees. This is extremely important. If we do not associate with devotees, just like a spark that flies away from the fire, will lose all its heat, right? The burning side. Right? So you have to stay close to the fire. And that is the association of devotees, right? Because we cannot do it alone. It's too hard. Maya and her three modes of material nature are too strong. We cannot do this alone. You have to take association of devotees if you want to surpass it. Living a regulated, disciplined, sattvic life. This is also very important. If you expect to overcome this mode of ignorance, this mode of passion, right? These can only be done if you live a disciplined, regulated, sattvic life. Because all other things are going to influence you closer and closer to rajas and closer to tamas, right? This passion, ignorance. You're never satisfied. You want more and more and more, right? Thus you are in passion and you will fall into ignorance. So if you live, even if you don't want to do something that is required, for example, coming to Mangala Arati, even if you don't want to do that, still, if you're disciplined, you get up, you do it, it will change your life, for sure. So, come to Mangala Arati. Okay, and by doing these four things, the ABCDs, and also chanting, hearing, and associating, living a regulated life, gradually these threefold miseries will dissipate. And your consciousness will actually elevate beyond these gunas. So let us just become aware. We know that these three things exist. What are those? Adhyatmic, Adhibautik, and Adhidevika, right? These three miseries are existing in life. Let us become aware of them. Let us be aware of the modes of influence in our lives, and let us come to Krishna consciousness so that we do not experience these disturbances, right? And these are not just external disturbances, they are disturbances, but if we understand the spiritual root cause of these disturbances, then we can take shelter of Krishna and actually take shelter, surrender to Krishna, and transcend all these sufferings. So that is like what we would like to do. So hopefully you'll join and be part of this Krishna conscious process and experience great happiness in your life. So chant and be happy. Thank you so much. That's kind of what I wanted to say today. If anyone has any questions or comments or realizations, please forgive me if I misstated anything. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Very much like threefold ways. Three modes are also influencing, and how to get how to get rid of them by surrendering on to Supreme Lord and by attentive chanting and sadhana.
Yes.
Coming for temple, associating with devotees.
Yeah.
Which improves our consciousness, and then slowly it gets reduced the influence of miseries, threefold miseries, and modes of material nature.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we tried, I think today I read my quote. Yeah, I think today the quote is like, it's about idle brain. Prabhupada has mentioned today, like, don't leave your brain idle. Just leave, even for a slightest time of moments. Maya will try to grab you, and she will get into your mind, and you will be influenced by Maya, and you will be doing all ignorant, foolish things.
Yes.
So don't give that slightest time to Maya. Keep feeling Krishna consciousness in your mind all the time. Today.
Yeah. There's a famous saying, an idle mind is the devil's workshop, right? Yeah. So, fortunately, in Krishna consciousness, you can be active 24/7, so you don't have an opportunity for Maya to come in. So, yes, take to that. It is important and stuff. And even in devotee communities, there will be conflicts and so forth. But because we are all trying to please the Supreme Lord together, we can overcome these conflicts also in devotional circles. So it's important that we, again, chant attentively. Guru Maharaj always used to say, chant attentively, or that would be the first question he would ask, are you chanting attentively? And stuff. And then take this association. Take association of those who inspire you, right? Who want you to become, who influence you to become a better devotee, right? Take influence of them and stuff. That is what why we're a part of this society. And then, honoring Krishna Prasadam and hearing from Shrimadbhagavatam classes, Bhagavad Gita classes. We have so many opportunities on YouTube. Listen to a class, right? There's never an opportunity not to listen. So you have all these wonderful things at our fingertips. So again, 24 hours you can be engaged. The devil's workshop does not have to exist and stuff. And you don't have to have an idle mind. So thank you.
And yesterday I missed quote, but today I read the yesterday's quote, Prabhupada has mentioned, in the forest there are many types of woods that can be used for fire. But if you try to grab sandalwood and if you try to burn it for cooking food, isn't that foolish? Similarly, we have many types of species of life.
Yeah.
Human life is very rare, and that shouldn't be burned up and not utilizing for Krishna. It should be utilized for Krishna and for devotional service.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. That's very true too. And, as these modes of passion, what they're doing is they're actually setting you up for your next life. When you leave this particular body, depending on what mode of passion you were involved with, that's going to bring about what your next body is going to be as well too.
Yes.
So it's very important that in this particular human form, we have the intelligence, right? We have the ability to ask questions. I've never seen an animal ask questions except for the human individual, right? So we have that ability. What is your purpose of life? What are you doing? We can ask ourselves every morning, how do I want to be happy? What am I going to do to increase my happiness today and become peaceful. So use the intelligence. Yeah, don't waste it, because don't waste this human form. You don't know if you're going to get that form in the next life or not. So, yeah, for sure. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. So, thank you all. Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.